What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Properties and Pour Overs podcast. My name is Adam Colburn, and today I have a very special guest, Mr. Matthew Carrigan. What's going on, Matthew?
Nothing much, Adam. How you been, man?
Good, man. Good. Good to see you. Appreciate you taking some time to share your story. And so, just to introduce yourself to our listeners, can you tell me where you're located in the country and what does your business look like currently?
Yeah, so we're both from North Carolina, so Carolina boys here. I'm just north of Charlotte, so Hickory.
Okay.
That's kind of where I'm based out of. That's where I was born and raised. I've moved outside of the area a couple times, and I always find myself back here, and was like, yeah, let's do some real estate in my backyard. And so I've opened up the North Carolina market. We've been doing it for now 3 years now, and my business right now looks, of course, I own it. And then we have 4 employees at the moment. I have two acquisition managers, a dispo manager, and also a VA that kind of is my little Swiss Army knife. She helps me out with everything. So
Yeah.
kind of what the business looks like.
Very cool. And so, you're primarily focused on wholesale right now, or are you doing some flips as well?
Primarily, it's got to be easy. It's got to be in and out if I want to do anything like that. I would much rather, because I've got some builders that I'm very, I'm really connected with. I'd much rather just pick up land and build new if I decide to do anything. If
Sure.
I flip something, it's got to be pretty newer year build, 1970, 1980 and a newer, and
Mm-hmm.
pretty cosmetic,
Sure.
Obviously, I just don't deal with any foundation issues. It's not worth the juice is not worth the squeeze.
I
So
totally agree. Yeah, we're in our last full gut right now here in Raleigh that I will ever do because it's
yeah.
just like you said, the juice is not worth the squeeze dealing with permits and inspectors and all that mess. It's just and just the time delay, like how long it takes to actually get one of these done when you if you can go and acquire the land, zoning's good, you get the plans, you go and build, it's faster and your profit margin's way bigger. So that makes a ton of sense. Okay.
Yeah.
And so primarily focusing on wholesaling, how long have you been in the space?
Going on 3 years now, right about 3 years. I was in sales before. I worked for a construction company. I didn't work for this company, so I'll say their name, but Sunbelt's like the green equipment you see everywhere. I worked for a
Yeah.
competitive of theirs for 2 or 3 years selling construction equipment out of college.
Okay.
Was tired of that headache. Found found real estate wholesaling through YouTube University, and here I am.
Nice.
It's kind of, I guess, self-made, I guess.
Totally. Yeah, I mean, I think that's a lot of our stories is when we fall into wholesaling is like just Googling how can I make money fast or just all the side hustle thing. That was my story as well. Like I tried all the side hustles and then stumbled
Right.
across the Jerry Norton video talking about wholesaling and just
Jerry Norton was who I picked it up from, actually. Yeah.
amazing. Yeah.
Yeah. I found him,
He's the
flipping
godfather.
mastery. And I was like,
Absolutely.
this kind of sounds interesting. I don't know what to do, but the best thing to do is when you don't know what to do is just jump in and you'll figure it out along the way,
Right. Yep. Jump in the pool, figure out how to swim. Love it, dude. That's awesome. So shout out to Jerry, training
Shout
up
out to
a
Jerry.
ton of entrepreneurs in this space. So I
Yeah.
love that. Okay. So walk me through that initial move from selling construction equipment into wholesale. Like what did that journey look like to get to your first deal?
Yeah. So I was, I found it through YouTube, right? And I dabbled in it for a while. And then I found astro flipping through Jamil Damji.
Okay.
I kind of joined his course. Um, Wanted to just be connected to a community that knew a little bit more about it.
Yeah.
And I was driving. I did a lot of driving for my previous job as a salesman, right? We had a company truck and I just drove around everywhere and
Sure.
I started driving for dollars, right? And so I was driving down the road and each lunch break or each little break I had after I got done with my business calls, I would pull up my app and start just dialing. I would just start calling and see who would answer. And I found this guy out. He answered the phone. Um, I got it to a price I thought was good. It was $100,000 what I offered him, and he accepted it. And then I sold it for 115, and I was like, "Holy cow! I made $15,000 in like I don't know 3 hours, and it
Yeah.
takes 3 months to make that." So
Right.
I said
Amazing.
I was hooked. I
Absolutely.
said,
That proof
if
of
I can deal with
concept.
this, yeah, if I can deal with this headache, surely I can deal with the real estate headache. So.
100%. Okay. And so from finding it on YouTube, joining Astro Flipping, and then closing on that deal and getting that first $15,000 check, what was the time horizon?
Did that in about 2 months. I think I
Nice,
whenever
dude.
whenever I've started finding this stuff out, I maybe three because I dabbled in the Jerry Norton thing and tried to,
Hmm.
spend a lot of money, but I didn't I wanted a clear direction on what I needed to do.
Sure.
And I'm a firm believer still to this day is I don't mind paying my way through someone else's mistakes. If I can
100%.
join a mentorship, if I can pay my way through something to learn it, I feel like that time that you paid is valuable because
Oh yeah.
you can make money quicker. I just paid for AI. I could have went and learned it, right? But
Hmm.
I just paid someone to do it for me, and now I paid him to do it. So now I know how to do it in my own business, because I
Right.
can just kind of replicate what he's done. So I
Absolutely.
spent $4,000 doing that, but how many hours would I have spent figuring it out?
Oh
That's
yeah.
the way.
Yeah, you compress time when you can get into those rooms and gain 10 years of knowledge in 10 hours from watching a course or learning from somebody else. But on top of that, it's like it's an investment in yourself, but also like I joke with a lot of buddies because we're in masterminds together. It's like I pay a lot of money to be friends with these people, right?
Right.
Because they're just high level entrepreneurs. They think differently than your normal 9 to 5 W-2 worker. They have big aspirations and goals. And like those are the types of rooms that I want to be in because they motivate me to go and build even cooler things. Right. And so if you don't get access to those people unless you're willing to pay. And that money is kind of the filter, at least the initial filter. And then obviously you still have to take action. But yeah, I love that. 100% agree that if you have the means to go and attach yourself to somebody that's doing what you want to do, you're going to learn that much faster if
Uh,
you're willing to invest into it. So that's awesome, man.
Yeah,
And
and
so,
there's
no, go ahead. Go ahead.
I mean, and if you don't have the means, right? If you don't have $7,000 or 5,000 or whatever the mastermind is, just go into your local REIs. I'm sure there's earn and learn. I'm a big guy about that too. Like
Yeah,
go work from somebody that knows what they're doing. Earn and learn
sure.
and cut your teeth for a year or two until you learn how to do it and then, take the leap and own your own business.
Yeah.
That's another way of doing it.
Absolutely. Yeah, super smart. And that's one of the my biggest regrets when I got started is that I didn't join a team and I just kind
Right.
of spun my wheels trying to figure it out. And we could have compressed time like we're talking about if I
Hmm.
could have just said, "Hey Matthew, I see that you're crushing it over here. Can I just make calls for you? Can I do XYZ? Can I leverage my time for your skills?" And so we both make more money together.
Yep.
It's a cheat code to uh
Oh,
to grow
absolutely.
your business. And so okay. So being involved with Jamil, I know obviously he's more apt to talk with agents. Was this first deal? It sounds like it was direct to seller, right? You were just calling John for dollars leads.
Right. Yeah. A lot of my stuff when I first started out was an inherently direct to seller. He
Hmm.
spoke about that and he was big on like connecting with other wholesalers. So I did the what we called it as micro flipping, right?
Sure.
Or JV, in other words. So you
Hmm.
connect with wholesalers, bring the buyers, what have you. So I
Yeah.
did quite a few of those, but it wasn't scalable, or
Sure.
I didn't know how to scale it. I'll just say that
Yeah.
everything's scalable. You just gotta know how to do it.
Sure.
And so I was exactly like you just mentioned, is I tried to do that and I was successful. I closed some deals, but I got to where I was just stressing way too much because I ended up quitting my job, going full time into real estate. And then it was like month to month. Am I closing something? Am I not? And I'm like, all right, I got to take a step back. What can I do to? I know that there's money to be made here, but I've got to
Hmm.
figure out how to do it.
Yeah.
So I actually joined a team, and that's where this agent thing came to fruition. And I learned how to do that, and here we
Nice.
are.
Well, cool. We'll talk about that model. Because I know it's a little bit different than just calling an agent, right? Like kind of break down your process and why you prefer to work with agents rather than continuing that direct to seller path.
First off, I think working with agents through a CRM, I built a CRM through Go High Level. You can have the snapshot at the end of this podcast if y'all want it. Feel free to use it. But I've found that my cost per deal is a lot lower than direct to seller marketing. I've heard it's $3,000, $5,000 direct to seller marketing. I mean, we closed over $40,000 last month, and I may have had 3 or 4,000 in marketing,
Yeah,
right? So, and that's including my VA.
sure.
I don't have a lot of. I don't have a lot of marketing that I'm shelling out.
Yeah.
Now, I don't think that in most cases that sometimes these agent deals are as big of a spread
Sure.
as some of your direct to seller deals. I've heard that the direct to seller deals are very can be very, profitable,
Sure.
but also it's a lower risk in my opinion because you think about going direct to agents, right? It's not just you out there finding deals. If you've got 10 Matthews you're working with or 10 Adams,
Mm-hmm.
they can get on here and they all do their own deal outreach. And then so they're bringing you deals. Are they all good deals? No, of course not, but it's a numbers game.
Yep.
So you just keep your KPIs logged and you make sure that, each KPI you evaluate at the
Mm-hmm.
end of 2 weeks, 3 weeks, every week, whatever you want to do. And you say, okay, well, this got me the result I was looking for. How can I extrapolate that?
Yeah. Maximize that. Yeah. Well, I
Mhm.
think the biggest thing for me is because yes, direct to seller, the deals are way bigger,
Mhm.
but it's typically going to be a one and done transaction where you can
Mhm.
do continual business with a good agent that sends you referral leads. And so, yeah, okay, you might only make 5 grand, but if I can make 5 grand 20 times this year
Mhm.
compared to making 50 grand once, I'm still making twice as much money.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
that relationship's going to be there long term. And
Mhm.
so it's both are great, and like you said, the marketing aspect going direct to agent is way less because that is their business too. Like their
Mhm.
business is for you to call them and to sell houses. And
Yep.
so all you got to do is pick up the phone and dial. You don't even have to skip trace them. Their number's right there.
That's
And
right. That's
and build a
another thing.
relationship, right? So like you can bootstrap a direct to agent business model with essentially no money at all.
Yeah.
And so what is your that snapshot that you're talking about with Go High Level? What is that automation doing for you as far as outreach to these agents? Is it like a drip campaign where you're just checking in with them periodically? Are you framing a certain kind of conversation with these agents? And then how are you compensating them? Are you paying them a commission? Are you giving them a piece of the deal? Like, let's kind of dive into what that looks like.
So exactly. So a combination of everything, right? It depends on the deal and what works for the seller. Because at the end of the day, we're still trying to figure out what's in the seller's best interest. Like, how can we make the deal work?
Sure.
Uh, but let's say Adam started marketing in Raleigh, North Carolina. So we would pull a list of agents, right? And you just mentioned it that we don't have to skip trace them. It's public data. They
Yep.
have it. So then you do your outreach, you do your initial drip campaign outreach, three or four text sequence. Obviously, they'll probably respond to you. And then you just get on the phone with them. I tell my guys 5 minutes or less is typically what an intro call needs to be.
Hmm.
Tell them what you're looking for, what you're about. Hey, you can, represent me and the seller as long as the seller agrees to that. You can get both sides of the transaction. The beautiful thing about it is the seller normally pays the realtor fees, right?
Hmm.
So normally that's nothing really changes there. Is the seller still paying the
Yeah.
agent's
It's just the
commissions?
agent's getting double. So they're more apt to
Correct,
work with
right?
you. Yeah.
Yes, as Jerry Norton says, they're double dipping.
Yeah.
So, they're double dipping into the deal, and so then at that point, let's say that you get 5 or 10 agents today that you want to follow up with, you put them in the drip campaign, and then they're just constantly being followed up with every 14, 17, 18, 12 days. You just kind of got to vary it so it doesn't look automated.
Sure.
And then, at that point, you're just making sure that that happens automatically. And
Hmm.
then when they have a deal, you pull them out of the drip campaign, call them up, find out the information. And then that's when it really gets into having really good buyers that sometimes you can just reverse wholesale these things.
Sure.
And that just makes life a lot easier.
Totally. Yeah. Okay. Awesome. Love that. And so, you've built up a decent team now. You have some structure behind you, but obviously, just business and real estate specifically is not without challenges.
No,
Like
100%.
let's talk through one of the big struggles that you've had over the last few years and kind of the mindset that you had to get to overcome that hurdle.
Yeah, I would say my business really just started taking off this year.
Okay.
I left the kind of business partnership I had last year. He was on the flipping side and I was still wholesaling, kind of getting the deals through my agent outreach, and that was working good. And then we just mutually decided it was best to do our own thing. And so we, just started taking off this year because I was like, I need to scale. That's
Hmm.
the next step in my business. I know how to do it. I need to scale. So I started hiring. I think hiring's really tough,
Yeah.
finding people that want to do the work. They all say they want to do the work until they get in the business.
Right.
And then you're like, and then I've had to kind of figure out pay structures, and I've went through the ringer on that. I finally got something that I felt like worked there. So I would say right now, like my biggest thing is scaling, like trying to scale
Hmm.
and making sure processes are implemented,
Yeah.
because I learned real quick that when I took a week or two of my time to train somebody and then they left or something that didn't work out, well, wow, that's a week or two of my time that's just gone, you know?
Right.
So I definitely started implementing more systems, not only just like through the deal flow, but business systems, I guess is what you would call
Sure.
that, you know?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
yeah,
Optimizing your organization. So
exactly,
cool, man.
man.
That's awesome. And so thinking as you're growing and scaling, like big vision over the next 5 years, like what does your business look like? If you could wave a magic wand, everything's working out exactly how you want it. Where are you at? How many deals are you closing? What kind of revenue numbers are you pulling in? What does your team look like?
Ideally, I want to create wealth, and I don't think creating wealth is through transactions. So I want to create wealth for my family. I think that the wholesaling business will always be there because it just prints money every month.
Sure.
So I want to obviously keep a team, and I feel like you have one acquisition per state. I'm like, let's say I'm in Florida and North Carolina right now. We're about to open up in another market, but
Hmm.
I think like from the deal flow about one acquisition manager, because at the end of the day, you want your acquisition managers to make money that they want to stay with you,
Of
because you
course.
don't want turnover,
Yeah,
right?
totally.
Um, so I see that m- myself growing to maybe 4 or 5 markets that we're consistently wholesaling, but also I get into multifamily. I think that's the goal, is I want to get into, something bigger than 5 units and try to hold those and put money down on those, and maybe some short-term stuff.
Hmm.
The short-term rental space is appealing to me, but I think I would start out there as just like a vacation home that me and my wife want. And if it
Sure.
makes money, it makes money. If it doesn't, it's okay,
Yeah,
you
even
know?
if it's a break even, it's a win because now you have a free vacation spot. Yeah,
Exactly. So that's
love
kind
that.
of where I see it in 5 years. I see me investing maybe in some syndication or multifamily, and really getting more so in the new build space and
Hmm.
building a lot more.
Yeah,
Uh, that's where I see myself,
awesome.
and just having the wholesaling business there printing money.
Love it. Very cool. That's amazing. And so, if somebody's watching this and they're just getting into wholesaling, they hear your story, they're like, man, this guy's got it figured out. Or maybe they're an agent and they have deal opportunities to send your way. How can people get a hold of you?
Yeah, you can reach me. You can reach my CRM number, 828-705-3381, or you can email me at matthew@reicornerstone.com. And man, we never have it figured out. You just might have it figured out a little bit more than you did yesterday. So
Totally.
the
Well,
the biggest thing is what I tell my team is I don't want to make the same mistake twice. If we can
yeah,
avoid that, we're doing good.
that's amazing. And that kind of goes in perfectly segues into my last question that I leave all my guests with is what is the one piece of advice that you would give if you could go back in time and talk to yourself right when you were getting started?
It all works. Just pick something that you want to go with, right? If you want to go direct to seller, it works. Pick it a certain marketing channel. Don't do half of it direct mail, half of it text messaging, half of it cold calling. Like pick one and go with it, right? That was my biggest thing. And then joining a team or a mentorship, I think is huge.
Yeah.
I think if you don't have any money, and even still, if you do, I think that if you can earn and learn with someone, that's the best way to figure out how to do it. Because I cut my teeth for about 8, 9 months with someone out of California, learning how to do this direct to agent process. Then I replicated it in my business, and that's what's gotten me here today.
Yeah.
I just got into a room with someone that knew a lot more than me, and I figured it out.
Yeah.
So
That's
that
super
would be
good.
my advice to you.
Yeah, no, I love that. I love both parts of that because it's that shiny object syndrome is so real in this space because you're right, they do all work, but they don't all work at the same time. And
Right.
so if you can get laser focused, get really optimized in one specific strategy, get to the point where you can automate it and then move on and add an additional tool to your tool belt, I think that's the best way to do it. And in tandem with that is just the way to learn how to do that is go work for somebody else.
Yeah.
Easy cheat code.
100%.
So,
Yep.
so good. Love it, man. Well, Matthew, I really appreciate you taking some time to share your story. Thanks so much. Thank you guys for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. Until the next one, I'll catch you later. Peace.